On this week's episode of Inside Iowa,
see how a group of Iowa students help support workers' rights for makers of Iowa apparel.
catch a glance into the changing face of modern pharmacy students.
Learn about Iowa's steps towards water conservation.
Run alongside Iowa athletes at the Drake Relays.
See what the Children's Hospital is doing for juvenile arthritis.
Check out why the University of Iowa Rec Center was rated a top college facility.
And get a taste of what Hawk fans are cooking with Kinnick's Kitchen.
Hello and welcome to another installment of Inside Iowa, your exclusive look at the difference the University of Iowa students, staff, and alumni are making every day. I'm Eric Dawn.
And I'm Lauren Moss. Each week we'll give you a glimpse into what's happening around campus, within the Iowa City community, and beyond.
The impact of the university is present in a number of places and visible on the shirts of many students and staff clad in Iowa t-shirts, hats, and jerseys. But did you ever consider where Iowa apparel comes from?
Vice President of UI Students Abolishing Slavery, Will Goldberg, decided to research that very question. Though many clothing companies sell material from sweatshops, Goldberg convinced the university to buy clothes from Alta Gracia in the Dominican Republic.
Alta Gracia pays workers a living wage rather than the country's minimum wage, which is highly insufficient for citizens to access things like medicine and education.
Let's take a look to see how workers' rights and fashion can blend together to make a positive impact.
We all love sporting our black and gold, but we may not always consider where our t-shirts come from. Well, one group of Iowa students decided to find out, and they didn't like the answer. So the Students Abolishing Slavery decided to make a difference.
We'd like every student to support factories that raises their workers up. And by supporting that factory, by buying their apparel, by buying their clothes, it shows other businesses and other factories that they can actually make a profit this way, and that they kind of have to do it if they want to make a profit, because otherwise the items won't get bought.
Will Goldberg is the vice president of Students Abolishing Slavery, and Goldberg started an initiative to encourage the University of Iowa to sell clothes that are not made in sweatshops, but rather made by individuals who are paid a living wage and treated well. His ambition and desire took Goldberg and other members of the group to Villa Altagracia in the Dominican Republic, where they found just that.
During this trip, we were able to spend a week or two living with the workers at Altagracia, and we toured the factory while they were working. It was one of the most fantastic experiences of my life.
And Goldberg explained that Altagracia is a factory where workers are paid not only a minimum wage, but a living wage.
The minimum wage isn't actually what they can live off there. What Altagracia gets paid is what's called a living wage, which happens to be 3 times the minimum wage. A living wage is the amount of money that it takes for them to be able to afford medical bills, school for their children, school for themselves, for them to be able to afford food and shelter. It's actually fantastic to see the way that this industry is helping the entire community grow.
After decades of a strong labor movement, many changes have taken place throughout the entire nation of the Dominican Republic, but poverty still strikes hard in the country. Even so, strong will and help from caring consumers made a t-shirt factory, a place that could pay their workers better, and our t-shirts still cost the same.
They put out 10 to 20 shirts per hour. That $3 is, what, 15, 20 cents more per shirt? It, in reality, has almost no effect on the price of the shirt. This is an entirely different business model than most factories are operating under. And if we prove to business owners around the world that what we support, what we want to buy, we're proving to businesses around the world that that's where the market is. And if you want to stay in business, you should begin being ethical. Every single person who's a little bit more informed on this can make more informed choices and help to raise the state of everybody. We all have the ability and the chance to raise the state of human rights around the world, and I'm so glad that so many people are taking that chance.
We all depend on pharmacies to supply us with medicine when we need it, but rarely do we think of the steps it takes to become a pharmacist.
We take you now to a profile on Brittany Brooke, a pharmacy student at Iowa, to show what going into pharmacy means in 2013.
My name is Brittany Brooke, and I am currently a P2 in the pharmacy program here. I really did come into pharmacy school naive to all the different opportunities. I started thinking I would either have the choice to be a community pharmacist or a hospital pharmacist. And through some shadowing before I got accepted, and now through, we have different experiences that we're able to do job shadows and practical learning outside the college. I think that it's really opened up my eyes to see the clinical aspect and the way that pharmacy will hopefully be in the future. Pharmacy Practice Lab is a really great way that we're able to practice what we're actually learning. It's set up like a community pharmacy in the sense that we can actually walk over to the shelf and show a patient a medication. Okay, have you had any recent blood draws? We also focus on doing vitals, so we're learning how to do blood pressures accurately. Is that too tight? It's really just more of a practice environment that we're able to practice our skills in a way that if we do something wrong, it's okay. We have that chance to learn from it. Pharmacy is changing, and I think that's what's really gratifying, knowing that we're part of the generation that's going to make pharmacy, a completely different practice.
Coming up on Inside Iowa, see how the university's water fountains are going green.
And follow Iowa's track team as they brave the Drake Relays.
All of this and more
when Inside Iowa returns.
We have a certain way of doing things. You'll see it in the determination of our students, in the classroom and on our fields, in the collaboration among our faculty that lead to great innovation and change, in the vision of our writers, artists, and doctors, bringing the world to Iowa and Iowa to the world. It's the Hawkeye Way.
Performing Iowa, the University of Iowa's finest in music, dance, and theater performances. Go behind the curtain and see why the University of Iowa is a hub for artistic expression and creative production. Performing Iowa, each week only on the Hawkeye Network.
May, when Basabe has been very active on the offensive glass.
And there it is. Devin Marble with that score joins his dad Roy in the 1,000-point club here at Iowa. The first father-son duo in Big Ten history to accomplish that feat. He just made history. Father and son, each in the same exclusive club in Iowa basketball history.
Show your Iowa pride, the Iowa Hawk Shop, where Iowa shops. The ultimate collection of Iowa Hawkeye merchandise, gifts, and apparel. Help support the University of Iowa. All proceeds benefit men's and women's athletic teams and student programs. The Iowa Hawk Shop, where Iowa shops. Show your Iowa pride. Call 1-800-HAWK-SHOP or visit www.hawkshop.com.
It's not unusual to see students walking around campus with water bottles, but with more than 30,000 students at Iowa each year, that's a lot of plastic and a lot of water being consumed.
And that's why student government collaborated with the Office of Sustainability to encourage the use of hydration stations, in addition to drinking fountains that encourages reusable rather than disposable water bottles. Let's take a look.
The LK filling stations were first began to be installed in residence halls on campus, and students saw them, got interested in them, and began to use them, and they quickly became popular. And they support, of course, the use of reusable containers rather than single-use disposable containers of water. We all agreed that the Iowa Memorial Union would probably be the best place, since so many students go through that building every single day. And so in fact, that's where our first non-residence hall filling station was installed. And since then, we've been installing them gradually across campus. We have well over a dozen across campus now.
The environmentalist in me would probably say that you're reducing plastic waste overall. That's probably the biggest one. Even though plastic waste or like the disposable bottles are recyclable, a lot of them still don't end up in the recycling stream. I met with Liz and I was looking to find a creative solution to want to use reusable plastic bottles. And so we were kind of looking around and we finally came up with the hydration station idea because some other schools across the country had started working with them and had saw a lot of progress. And that kind of fit right in line with my goal of getting students interested and getting students engaged. The economist in me, however, would also say that you're saving a lot more money. You're already paying for water services at your home, at your apartment, in your dorm. It's more economical. Just in terms of, I know students are looking to save money in all ways possible, and so making that kind of one investment that you'll be able to continuously use for the long term is also really important.
The famous Blue Oval at Drake University has been the home of the Drake Relay since 1926, and every year the Iowa track team competes in the events.
The physical preparation for student athletes is notoriously intense, but what about the mental rehearsal?
Inside Iowa takes you to Drake Stadium to meet a few Iowa athletes who competed in the relays.
Let's take a look at the physical and psychological preparation it took them to do so.
You go out there to Drake, to Des Moines, and we have everybody rooting for us. You have these nationally ranked teams there, and everybody's coming out there to to run fast like they do every meet, and the top of the line competitions, and you have Iowa there, and everybody rooting for Iowa.
The crowd and the atmosphere that you're surrounded in, it's an awesome experience. And getting to come back in college, it's going to be a good homecoming, let's just say that.
This is the start of what Wiz calls the championship season, so I think going into Drake, we all want to, perform well, win some titles, and run around the blue oval with the Drake flag.
It inspires you. It's just great to see other athletes that work as hard as you or even harder to get where they are. And it's a cool feeling, and it's something special on that blue track, that big blue track. I guess with it being my last year, I've started to kind of just relax. In the beginning, it was stressful. It was like, I'm a freshman, I got to prove myself to everybody, and that, I mean, I did it my first year, and then after that, I just started thinking too much.
A lot of us, don't get an opportunity to get to this level, and when we do, like, it's a good experience. I've really come really close with a lot of the teammates, and it's just a really good environment to be in. I'm really happy I came here.
I had some Achilles problems, so like a little minor surgery. I had to scope it out, clean it out, so I was out for a while. This is my last year, so it was very frustrating. People don't realize how mental track is. You can go out there and be in tip-top shape, and then it gets to meets time, and you just choke. You just worry about too many things instead of just going out there and having fun and just doing what you do best. So for me to get over the fact that I was going to be back to 100%, I was going to be able to do what I've been doing even better, was the hardest part.
I'm really hard on myself, and I get frustrated, but that's just because I know I want to, be the best I can. And those times are the worst. It's like you're in a dark place and there's just no light. You just don't know how to get out. But it's always just got to remember the little voice in your head telling you that you can do it. And the thing I think I've understood with track is just you're competing against yourself. So a lot of times you have to understand that your mind's trying to play tricks on you, and you have to understand that, you have to battle your inner mind to be the best athlete. And if you can overcome that, then you can overcome a lot of adversity in your life.
A week before the race, I want to concentrate on what needs to be done in practice for me to accomplish what I want to do in the meet.
The thing I'm trying to do this year is just prepare to be my best on every meet and just give it my best, no matter what the circumstances are, the weather is.
There's a lot of work put into it, and obviously there's a lot more hours put into it. It's just a lot more work than it was in high school.
I just want to take care of my body. I want to make sure I'm eating right. I want to make sure I'm getting enough sleep. Because I don't want to have any excuses on why I couldn't perform to my best of my ability.
It doesn't really matter what people have done beforehand or after. And that just matters what you do on that day and who shows up.
I mean, the competition is going to be extremely talented, and we are extremely talented. It's going to take a lot of heart, and it's going to take a lot of effort, and we put all that in practice. We just have to transform that into Drake. Right before we start, my heart is beating so fast, and all I can think about is just running fast. You don't think about anybody else on the track. It's just me, my team, and it's exciting seeing all those people around.
The crowd can get you all amped up. There's a lot of adrenaline going on, a lot of nerves, and mostly I'm just trying to stay focused and focusing on my race and what I'm trying to accomplish.
You have a ton of Hawkeye fans, Hawkeye supporters there. To be there and compete and just know the history, it's just not like anything else.
When I get to the blocks, the first thing I do, I point up to the sky and I just thank God for giving me this moment. And when I get down, and what I'm thinking is, don't focus on anything. Like, you worked hard at practice, this is what you're here for, just have fun. Just go out there and just win.
When we return to Inside Iowa, we'll examine one young girl's struggle with juvenile arthritis.
And see what we have cooking in Kinnick's kitchen.
For more than 100 years, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa, and now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV. DITV, your news, sports, and weather source for the University of Iowa, and is produced by University of Iowa students and presented by the Hawkeye Network.
Welcome back to Inside Iowa.
When you think of arthritis, you wouldn't normally think of children. For the parents of Des Moines native J.C. Stewart, the concept is all too familiar.
Let's hear J.C.'s story, which shows her personal journey with her disease.
And how the University of Iowa hospitals helped to get J.C. back on her feet.
It was April of 2008. Our daughter J.C. was 4 years old. She woke up and was completely sore, was unable to stand. She could stand for just a second and then would start crying. She was in a great deal of pain, and we could also notice that her knees and her ankles and different joints along her body were completely swollen. And we immediately took her to a pediatrician. They said, "I think it's arthritis. You better go see Dr. Hong in Iowa City at the Children's Hospital."
Well, until we found out what actually was going on in her body, we were really scared. We didn't know what to do.
She was actually wheelchair bound when we arrived at the hospital. And 9 months after treatment, she gained back all of her mobility.
JC does have a diagnosis of juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Our field has, over the last 10 years, increased the varieties of medications that we can use for our patients, and it means that most patients with arthritis, you'd never know.
Dr. Hong also diagnosed her with celiac disease. She found that she's allergic to gluten, and if she has the gluten, it makes the arthritis worse. We come back to the University of Iowa Children's Hospital every 4 weeks. JC is on Remicade infusions, an intravenous medicine that is helping her work towards remission, and it's working really well. Everybody here at the hospital has a smile on their face. It's very colorful and friendly, and children are actually smiling.
It makes it much easier to bring your child here knowing that they're in good hands. It's nice to have a hospital like this in Iowa.
Today, JC is just like a normal child. She can ride her bike, go swimming. She does not have any limitations as far as what she cannot do.
Dr. Hong told us not to limit her until she gets sore. If she starts getting sore, then cut back a little bit and let her
She won't come back.
She won't come back.
She's very artistic. She walked in the arthritis walk in Des Moines, and then she very much wants to be an advocate for bringing awareness to people that might not know that much about rheumatoid arthritis, let alone that children have it, just like her.
Our hopes and dreams for JC is to allow her to do whatever her body will allow her to do.
There's actually no words to say how grateful we are for all the care that we've received here in JC. She wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
When we return, see what makes the rec center one of the best in the country.
And let's see what's cooking on game day on Kinnick's Kitchen.
Kick back and relax as Java Blend takes you from your home right into the Java House in downtown Iowa City. Experience local and national talent perform for a live audience, featuring musical groups from all over the country. Java Blend puts you in the front row of each performance. Java Blend is presented by Iowa Public Radio and the Hawkeye Network.
Can Hartlieb and the Hawks do it? Hartlieb sprinting back. It's caught, it's at the 5,
yes,
a touchdown. I can't believe it, a touchdown to Marv Cook. Holy cow, can't believe it, 6 seconds to go. Hartlieb to Cook, and the Hawks have the lead.
Welcome back to Inside Iowa. It's no secret that the University of Iowa has great fitness centers. But did you know the UI Rec Center was rated one of the top 3 by bestcollegereviews.org?
Let's take a look at what makes it so great.
Now, some of the things that went into, I think, us receiving the award of being selected as the 3rd most amazing campus recreation facility in the country involved several factors. One is just the amount of square footage that we have. We're first in the country in terms of the amount of square foot per student that we allocate for recreational purposes. The quality of our programming is another thing I think that helped us get that ranking. The group that did the ratings looked at our total overall program, not only this facility, but our other facilities combined with the programming that we do. There's not a lot of universities throughout the country that allow community use of their facilities. And it's something that we have always done at the University of Iowa, and it stems a little bit from my belief that what makes something recreation for our students, for our faculty, is being able to participate in a recreational activity with whomever you want. We think that's all important in terms of giving our students a broad-based experience in recreation facilities, and hopefully they'll take some of these habits in terms of coming in and using a recreational facility and take it forward into their work after school and continue to work out and continue to stay physically fit.
Game day at historic Kinnick Stadium is always an excellent time for awesome food. Whether it's burgers, brats, steaks, or dogs, Hawkeye fans love to find tasty new ways to tailgate.
And this week in Kinnick's Kitchen, take a bite out of a jalapeno packed with sausage and cheese.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Kinnick's Kitchen, and we're starting this off right. We have Mary, who is a professional tailgater who's been doing it for quite a while, and she's got some great recipes for us. So first off, Mary, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you got going here today?
These are great with beer, which you always have lots of at a tailgate party. They're called peppers, and the main ingredient is a jalapeno pepper with sausage and white cheese, and they're awesome. And they make your beer go down very easy. Isn't that the truth?
So I'm gonna get one of these little bad boys here. So tell me a little bit about what's inside. It's a jalapeno pepper, kind of as the bed.
And when you make them, you have to hollow out that pepper. You have to use rubber gloves. Otherwise, you will burn your fingers. So you make sure you use rubber gloves. So if it burns your fingers, what else is it gonna burn?
So let me ask you this then. How long did it take for you to figure out that you need to handle these with gloves? Did you have a mistake doing the...
One time.
Yeah?
But, and then, you should always put chapstick on before you eat hot peppers.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't share my chapstick.
That's okay. I actually really enjoy jalapeno peppers, so I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
How long have you been making this specific recipe?
Grandma's recipe. 3 years. Well, no, probably 10. Probably 10.
Why do you bring these to a tailgate?
We have this pan to cook early, and then they always go fast, so we have to have another one for later on.
We got a backup.
Everybody go.
Now, I gotta say, at first glance, this looks great because it's a portable food that you can walk around, hang out with your friends.
And it's a vegetable, too. Yeah. You know, it's green.
I like the idea that it's a vegetable, so I am now eating healthy. So we're gonna give our first shot here at this jalapeno stuffed, is it sausage?
Yeah, it has sausage.
Sausage.
Oh, here.
No, I don't need a napkin. I gotta say, the way that this cream cheese mixes with this jalapeno is spicy, I'm not gonna lie. But it is awesome. And this is where we're kicking off this season. So this is technically my breakfast. And there's nothing wrong with having jalapenos for breakfast.
Perfect.
This is awesome. If you're not making this, you need to start.
Wow, Lauren, that looks great. Is it lunchtime yet? Because I am starving now. That wraps up this week's installment of Inside Iowa.
Be sure to join us next time to see the way that Iowa students, staff, and alumni are making a difference in the community and beyond.
For Inside Iowa, I'm Eric Dawn.
And I'm Laura Moss.
See you next week.